So, you have a 6.9 or a 7.3 IDI diesel. You go and you drive it all night. You drive it all day. It works great. No real problems with the truck. But if you let the truck sit overnight or for a long period of time, it doesn't even necessarily have to be cold out. It's hard started. Now, you did all your due diligence and checked your glow plug circuit, checked your compression, just basic stuff like that. Are you getting fuel? But there's another one on these IDIs that you got to look out for, and that's how is your return line system? Let's get into that. Welcome to High Hill Stable Garage. So let's take a look at this engine right here. This is the old engine out of the brown F250. What I'm talking about here there, fellers, are these return lines that go in between your injectors. These basically return the fuel that's not used from your high pressure side. It converts it to a low pressure side, and then that goes back to your tank. But what you don't see, usually, are these are all cracked within, and it's letting air come in and bleed out. Also, these little caps here, they have little O-rings inside them, and the O-rings can dry up over time. And basically, between the two, you'll have air permeate through your system and make it so then all this fluid will drain back to your tank as your vehicle sits. Basically, added air into your system. Now, when you try to start it, your truck now has to purge all that air out through your injectors until it can get the fuel basically going to it. That's why you might be cranking it there for 30 seconds, 40 seconds before it finally goes. On this engine, it has really, really, really bad fuel lines. You can basically rip them off with your hand if you wanted to. So we bought some new fuel line, some brand new hose clamps, but we're going to try to reuse the old ones for aesthetic reasons. And we're basically going to replace all the little 3/16 lines on the top with brand new, and we're going to cut them to length. And it's all only going to cost us about 10-15 bucks. So let's get at it. So again here, with a little bit more light this time, what we're replacing today are these lines in between. See, we're missing a couple. This is just a temporary line. But we're missing a couple in between, yada, yada, yada. But we're going to replace the lines. We're going to leave the O-rings right now. Focus. There we go. We're going to leave the O-rings inside, so we're not going to pull the caps off. But as long as these aren't cracked, we should be okay, unless the O-rings are dried up. But this is basically just to replace these lines. You can't run it like this. This engine's been sitting way too long, and it's just gonna, it's not gonna run right. So what I bought here is just bulk length 3/16 line fuel hose. So go down, get about 4 feet, but that will allow you to do all the lines on the top of your engine. Plus you'll have a little bit for down the line. Basically this fuel line here was perfectly fine until you touch it. And if you touch it, it will crack and be brittle and everything. I can just put my pliers onto this and just give it a twist. And you can see it crack and break and a whole bunch of bad stuff. And I can basically just pull that off where I'm not supposed to. The hose clamps are supposed to keep that sucker on there. So as you can see, it's all cracked up and everything. That's from me just pulling on it, and all the other ones are going to be the same deal. So I'm just going to separate these hose clamps, and we're just going to cut it to length from our bulk hose, put the hose clamps back on it, and send her out. But yeah, it's crisp. You wouldn't want to run this at all. But this is all the lines that I took off. They're just crispy, falling apart. You wouldn't be able to trust these going down the road. They would likely end up, you're likely to be okay driving about 200 kilometers, but if you're in a 500 kilometer road trip, around the 210 kilometer mark, when the vibrations in the potholes start to get really bad, those hoses are going to let you down, and you're going to be stuck on the side of the highway. So yeah, as you can see, my return lines are all set up. I made a new line there, and I made a new crossover line down there. So I just have to move the hose clamps, but yeah, this engine's basically all done hose-wise at the top. It just needs the hose clamps moved up a little bit. So yeah, just a quick little snippet of information for you guys on the top end. I know these IDIs, there's a lot of guys that have trouble with them. A lot of it comes down to just fuel issues and glow plug issues. That's pretty much the only systems that run on these things. I hope you guys found this insightful. I hope you guys found this useful. There's going to be plenty more videos on this Brown F250 coming along down the pipeline. We're almost ready for first start. It's going to be great. I'll see you guys in the next video very, very soon. All right. See you guys. Bye.